Hello, we are live, yes. Hello everyone, welcome to the 9-year anniversary of my channel. So I thought I would do a bit of a live stream, so fingers crossed everything is working. So hopefully you can hear me and you can see me. Otherwise this is going to be a bit of a disaster because this is all a little bit technical for me, and it feels a bit weird doing a live stream on my own because I'm normally used to having people with me. So this is essentially just a bit of a relaxing thing. Going to answer a few questions, talk about Doctor Who. So if you've got any questions, please do put them in the chat, and I will answer them throughout the live stream. So I'll just put a little thing on. This is a little bit technical. Hopefully, I can put a little comment in there so you can see. Can you see? There we go. That's sorted. That's a bit technical, isn't it? That's a bit fancy. That's more fancy than any of my videos. So yes. I guess I'll start with a bit of news because recently, hello, there's a few hellos. Hello, Jude. Hello, Planet Craft. Hello, Clacker the Geek. So thank you very much for joining. We've had, hello, Rob. We've had the B&M sets. They've been released. Here we have the second Doctor and TARDIS. It's that time of year again where we go around many B&Ms to try and find some plastic figures to put on our shelves and go, isn't that pretty? But today we've had the announcement of even more B&M sets. If we can have a look at the list, if I can get the list, because we've had, these are supposedly going to be coming out in December. So we've got basically, what we found out is, on the back of the 13th Doctor figures, there's like the advertisement for the blue top 13th Doctor. That's apparently an American exclusive. Whether that will be released in the UK, fingers crossed it will, because it will annoy me. And then we've had the announcement of 2 more History of the Dalek sets, because it seems like this is a recent thing Character Options are trying to do, make some of the rare Daleks more accessible. So I guess we've got the Chase version, so I guess that will have possibly a standard Chase Dalek and maybe a Chase Guard Dalek. That would be pretty cool. But it'd be quite cool if they did some of the Chase Daleks with like the little attachments. That'd be cool, like the little what is it, the seismometer? I don't really know what it's called, to be honest. Somebody will let me know. And then we've got the History of the Daleks Twin Pack B, the Daleks Master Plan. I guess that's going to be like the Flamethrower Dalek and the Supreme. That'd be pretty cool. And then we've got revised versions of the 4th Doctor Companions Set B. So whether it's going to be a different Romana, whether it be like Horns and Nymon Romana, maybe a Sarah Jane, another classic Sarah Jane, and maybe another variant of Romana 1. Or it could be Leela. They could have done another Leela version, maybe from the Talent of Weng Chang. That'd be pretty cool. And then we've got another, what's quite interesting is there's another Friends and Foe of the 13th Doctor Set B. So are we going to get another variant of Yaz and Ryan? Some people are hoping for sort of maybe Captain Jack and maybe Sacha Dhawan's Master in the tuxedo. That would be very cool, because I would like a Sacha Dhawan Master. And then we've had the 1975 unit Terror of the Zygon set, which I guess is going to be the Brigadier. Hopefully it's the Brigadier wearing a kilt, because that would be brilliant, wouldn't it? A Brigadier in a kilt. And I guess Benton, and I think maybe a sort of standard Harry Sullivan in his sort of blue jacket. But I think they probably could do Sarah Jane from Terror of the Zygons. They could basically use the Martha Combat body again and just paint it to look like it. And then we've got the 5th Doctor and TARDIS from Castrovalva, because it seems to be a recent thing where each Doctor and B&M gets 2 TARDIS releases. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see another Troughton TARDIS, because Tom Baker's had 2 TARDISes. John Pertwee has had 2 TARDISes as well, and then 5th Doctor has got the Caves Under Designy one. Now the Castrovalva one, which would be pretty cool. Hello, Alfie. Hello, TARDIS Traveller. The 4th Doctor come back. It'd be quite nice if it was Varuma, Tegan, and Nyssa, because they technically are 4th Doctor companions. So could that set be Adric as well? That'd be pretty cool. Because if it is a 4th Doctor companion set, then obviously it could be Adric, Tegan, and Nyssa, and then for the 5th Doctor they could do. I can definitely see Turlo getting a figure. That would be very because obviously, again, it's a primeval body. But the last 2, this is where it gets quite exciting for people, because we have Ace and Dalek rocket launcher pack. So obviously it's going to be a remembrance of the Daleks. Will it be the destroyed Imperial Dalek? Because obviously that's kind of a sought after figure because it's with the Emperor Davros. So that'd be pretty cool if it is. And then we have the 12th Doctor and Davros. So I guess that's from Magician's Apprentice, and which is familiar, I think. So that'd be pretty cool. So I'll just have a look at some of the questions before we start. So yeah, if you've got any questions, please do put it in the chat and I will answer them. So if I start off with some of the questions. So the first question on the same lines is, do you reckon character options will release an 8th Doctor TARDIS from the TV movie? I think it's possible. It is possible for them to do it. We were going to get an 8th Doctor set a couple of years ago, actually. It was Alduar gave somebody the prototype of it from the Night of the Doctor. It would have been a sort of a Night of the Doctor, 8th Doctor, and TARDIS, but that was leaked on eBay and hasn't. I think the new series TARDISes aren't viable, but they said that about classic Daleks, and obviously they've been released. So who knows? But as for, I think we could get. I would love a TV movie TARDIS because the 13th Doctor TARDIS does look very much like the 8th Doctor TARDIS, so that'd be cool if they do that, and I'd love that actually. So if we move, but actually, Alduar did put on Gallifrey Base a Eric Roberts head sculpt. So whether we see an Eric Roberts master and we can go with the dress for the occasion, that'd be brilliant. That'd be absolutely superb. Fingers crossed for a Death to the Dalek set. I would love that because the Death to the Dalek sets are my favorite Dalek design anyway. I love the silver and blue. I think they're great. I absolutely love them. What character would you like to see return in Doctor Who apart from Captain Jack? Happy 9 years. Love your videos. Keep up the extremely hard work. Thank you very much, Andrew. Really appreciate it. What other character would I like to see return? I think Susan's kind of the obvious one, but I think Susan should have returned with Capaldi because I think that would have been a nice little mirror image of those two, really. So I think Susan. I think it would be quite interesting to see Susan react to Jodie, to see how they interact, because obviously it would be a very different dynamic. We've seen Susan and McGann, brilliant dynamics. So it'd be interesting to see Susan. So I feel like Susan would be great. Bill and 13, that would be marvelous because I love Bill. Bill is a great companion. So I'll just go back up to the top some of the questions. So we've got a question from Jude. What are your thoughts on Colin Baker's TV era? I've always found it really underrated and surprisingly consistent. Are you the same, or do you dislike it more than me? Oh, Colin Baker's era is a bit interesting. It's interesting for me because he's kind of hit and miss. I recently watched Trial of a Time Lord, and it's a bit. Trial's interesting because I actually like Terror of the Vervoids. I think that's a great story. I think I love the Blu-ray version because it's taken out of the courtroom scenes and it's just the adventure, and it works so much better. It works so much better because I feel like Trial gets too bogged down in the whole sort of continuity thing. It's trying to be clever. It's trying to be meta going. The show's actually on trial, but the Doctor's on trial as well on TV. It's all a bit weird, and I don't know about Trial. Mind Warp, that's okay. Mysterious Planet was one I loved as a kid, but now I've kind of gone off it. I think Draft-Row is a great design. Obviously, I think I prefer Mysterious Planet to Orphan 55, but Orphan 55 was just, well, a bit of a meme. And I think that's the only reason people enjoy Orphan 55, because it's a bit of a joke. But as for his other seasons, so season 22's, when you think about it, season 22's got quite a lot of returning monsters. You've got, obviously, the Master, the Sontarans, the Daleks, Davros, the Cybermen. I like Attack the Cybermen. I think that's very good. Vengeance of Varus. I'm not too keen on Vengeance of Varus, actually. I watched it a couple of years ago, and I just don't really click with it. It's about, I think the problem with season 22 for me is the format. The 45-minute format just doesn't seem to work for me personally. And especially the problem, I think this is a problem with the Fifth Doctor stuff and the Sixth Doctor in a way, but sort of the companions don't really want to be there, and obviously the Sixth Doctor and Perry are just bickering each time, so it's not very enjoyable. So you feel like, why do you keep going on adventures with him? So I think it's an interesting dynamic. I feel like Big Finish have I mean, Big Finish is the answer to redeeming any character. Yeah. What other Colin Baker stories? Mark of the Rani, probably my favourite Sixth Doctor story, probably because it was filmed literally down the road, so I've got a bit of a soft spot for it. And the Rani, such a brilliant villain. Brilliant villain. What other Colin Baker stories are there? Two Doctors. I don't know if this is a hot take or controversial. I'm not a fan of it. I think that part 1's great. Episode 2, part 2, is just a slog. I think. Oh, is it part 3? What's a bit of a slog? But episode 2, part 2, has probably the worst classic cliffhanger, possibly the worst cliffhanger in the show's history, with Shockeye about to grab Perry. What's that about? I just don't like it. And the Two Doctors, I think it's worth just getting just to see Troughton and Colin interact and the awkward sort of snap moment when they're not in sync with each other. It's really weird. Time Lash, that can stay in the bin. I mean, it's not as bad as what other people say it is. I would say it's about 6 out of 10. It's nothing special, nothing. What's going to blow your mind? I mean, there is a third Doctor Virgin missing adventure called Speed of Flight, what sort of links into Time Lash and explains the third Doctor being there. Whatever. I haven't read it, so I can't really comment. But yeah, I think. Oh, and Revelation of the Daleks is another one, isn't there? I mean, I might have missed one. I feel like I might have missed one. I've definitely missed Twin Dilemma, but I'm not going to waste my energy talking about Twin Dilemma. I don't like it. Actually, Twin Dilemma is okay for 2 episodes, and halfway through part 3, it's just terrible. I don't like it. But Revelation of the Daleks, this is, again, I feel like that's a problem with Colin's era, is that they don't know how to write within the 45-minute format, and it's very much sort of either Sixth Doctor and Perry stuck in the TARDIS, or they're just wandering around, and literally part 1 is just the Sixth Doctor and Perry wandering around and sort of establishing the characters. And the DJ character in Revelation of the Daleks, I just really don't like. So Colin's era is a bit of a mixed bag for me. His era is not, for me, it's not an era I naturally gravitate to. If I want to watch classic Who, I tend to go to the 70s, because I just like Tom Baker and John Pertwee. But I do like Hartnell, I do like Troughton a lot. And Davison, I enjoy him. Big Finish. And McCoy, I like season 25 and 26. What other comments have we got? Where else are we? I'm just trying to keep up with the comments. Are you ever going to review? So this question is by Blobfish. Very cool name, Blobfish. Are you ever going to review the comic book adaptations? I guess you're talking about the Iron Legion and Star Beast. Definitely want to do that, because I recently bought the actual graphic novel of those two, the Fourth Doctor comics. I don't know if you can see, they're down there somewhere. So I definitely do want to review them, and maybe do like a comparison to see which is the better version of the story, because the comic adaptations are interesting in the sense that obviously they've added a lot, because the comics only span like 4 issues, and there's no way you can get like 25 minutes out each part of it. So I think Alan Barnes did a great job, and if you want to see Tom Baker on an absolute sugar rush and basically has eaten all the jelly babies, get the comic adaptations. It's definitely in my top 10 Big Finish releases of 2019. It's brilliant, and I definitely do recommend it. So what other comments? Hello. Hi Ben. Hello, Clack of the Geek. Congratulations on 2 years. Congratulations on 2 years. I'm currently working on a comedy sketch for my channel. Oh, lovely. What's it about? Hello, Daniel. What's your so this is by DJ Masonic. What is your favorite Big Finish release? Oh, that's a tricky one, because there's so much Big Finish, and my top 10 Big Finish is, well, my favorite Big Finish story isn't going to be on many people's list. My favorite Big Finish story, there's quite a lot, because I've listened to quite a bit, but my absolute favorite Big Finish story is the Mega, which is a third Doctor Lost story. It ends series 4 of the Lost Stories. It ended the Lost Stories until the revival over the past couple of years. It's a 6-part Pertwee epic. It's very much like The Mind of Evil. You can definitely see why they didn't make it because it's very ambitious. You've got sort of, I think they go to Switzerland, and you've got the Third Doctor flying a biplane, and it's just incredibly epic. And the villains are just superb. It is just an amazing six-parter. It's not going to be everyone's favorite. I think for me, it's the closest Big Finish have got to a proper true Pertwee story. That's including the Tim Treloar stuff. It's very much feels very authentic to that, because the Third Doctor adventures with Tim Treloar, they very much feel like they are trying to replicate the feel of the era. They're not trying to create original stories in the sense. It feels like they are trying to replicate the Third Doctor era. And I think we've had 6 volumes of that now, so I feel like it'd be nice to start seeing what Big Finish can do, put their own take on the Third Doctor. But I do enjoy the Tim Treloar stuff, but my favourite Big Finish is the Mega. Katie Manning does a wonderful Third Doctor impression. It is brilliant. And Richard Franklin does a rather ropey Sergeant Benton. So it's a bit weird. It's very weird. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. So we've got a question. Hello, Mr. Bonk Cactus. I'm doing very well. How are you? What are your thoughts on Captain Mike Yates? Well, as a massive Pertwee fan, I like him, and I would very much like the figure of him, because I don't have the unit set yet, which is a bit ironic, because he's my, the Third Doctor's my favourite Doctor, and the one B&M set I don't have at the minute is the Third Doctor one. But as a character, Captain Yates, he doesn't really get... when you think about it, Captain Yates isn't in many stories, is he? When you look at it, he's in most of season 8, season 9 he's in Day of the Daleks, but then that's kind of a unit light season, isn't it? Season 9. Then season 10, I guess he's in the Green Death. Yeah, Green Death he's in. He's not in the Three Doctors. But yeah, Captain Yates, I think that he's a good character. I think he's probably the weaker member of the unit family, but I think that's more down to the fact that he's not in it that much. I think that it's quite interesting that they give him something different to do in season 11 with Invasion of the Dinosaurs, with him sort of trying to be all for the sort of the golden age, is it? So I don't know. I feel like they could have done a bit more with Captain Yates personally. Obviously, he disappears and then returns in Planet of the Spiders and tries to redeem himself. But it's been a while since I watched Planet of Spiders because I cry and I don't fancy crying watching it. So, yeah, Captain Yates, I think he's okay. He's definitely the weakest member of the Pertwee era of the family. But that's not saying anything. It's just because he's probably the least utilised. Because I feel like every other character in the Third Doctor era is quite well defined, I guess. You've got a very sharp, dashing John Pertwee, then they've got the nice sort of lovable, clumsy Joe, and then you've got the wonderful sort of dry wit of the Brigadier and sort of the lovable Sergeant Bent, and then they've got Captain Yates, who rank has its privileges, I guess. But yeah, Captain Yates is all right. So Planet Craft says, I seriously hope they do a Planet of the Dalek set. What has the Supreme? That would be swell. And what's your favourite B&M set so far? I would like to see a Planet Supreme release for people who missed out. I think for me, who's the person who's got it, the original release, I think the character have been quite clever in the sense that if you do have the original release, they are going to tweak it, like the Saucer Commander Dalek. They tweaked that, so I've double dipped and bought that because I'm a sucker for a variant, and I like to have a complete collection, so I bought that. So yeah, I think Planet of the Daleks would be cool, because obviously Day of the Daleks, I guess I would love to see like an Ogron and like a Dalek throne. That would be a great set. I'd love that. Maybe that could be like Frontier in Space. I mean, would they do Frontier in Space? Because it's basically Day of the Daleks again, really. Unless, I don't know. Maybe they could do like the anti-reflectant light wave Dalek, but without sort of the spray paint, sort of a clear version. That would be very cool. I would love that, actually. But what's my favourite B&M set so far? Out of the ones, what I've realised, and I've been thinking about this past few days, how far the B&M range has evolved. because the B&M range, I think, started in 2014. And it was very much making rare figures more accessible and available. Like, I think the first wave of B&M sets was the Series 4 set with the Spacesuit River, which was a very sought-after figure, Rassilon, and I think Donna. Then the Series 5 one was the Raggedy Doctor, Rory, and Prisoner Zero. Then the Series 6 one, which was the only one I got of that wave, which was Stetson Doctor, which has a really questionable likeness to Matt Smith. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Then you have the Corroded Cyberman, which is a bit more of a variant because it's a lot more shiny and a lot more less corroded, but it's got quite a nice, and it works. That Cyberman variant works well with the 13th Doctor. Sorry, I'll just take a bit of a drink because I'm losing my voice. But and then obviously 2015 we saw like the classic figures like City of Death, Tom Baker, D84, very sought after figure. And then I guess sort of 2016 is when we started to get new variants. So we got the wonderful Third Doctor set with the Invasion of the Dinosaurs Third Doctor and sort of a Time Monster Joe. And we've got the brilliant Monster set. That was a great army builder set with the Invasion Cyberman, Zygon, and Ice Warrior. And then the 10th Doctor set. But and then 2017 we had the Attack Cyberman and the Tomb Controller. So again, it was very much following the same front of let's make rare figures more accessible for people. But now it's anything really goes. You know, I think 2018 kind of opened the door. Then 2019 started to walk, and then 2020 basically ran with what sets we got, because obviously 2018 was exciting because of the Third Doctor and TARDIS. I was excited. It was my Doctor and a TARDIS. And then Bill getting a repaint even before the actual release, before it was released. It's crazy. But I think 2019 is a brilliant wave of figures, with obviously the Big Finish Daleks, a thing we never really expected to see, sort of Big Finish figures. That was really cool. And then you had the Sontaran set with Harry Sullivan. Who would have thought it? Harry Sullivan as a figure. And I guess we kind of knew at that point that a classic Sarah Jane is pretty imminent. And I thought the classic Sarah Jane would have been with a Revenge of a Cyberman set. I think that would have been really cool to have like two Revenge Cybermen, maybe with the bombs and Sarah Jane. That would have been really cool. But my favourite B&M set, because I'm really waffling about this, because I just want to make the point of how far the B&M stuff has come along. And obviously 2020 has been full of amazing figures. You know, Romana, two Romanas, amazing. Benton and Captain Yates, incredible. I'm still in awe of it. It just takes a while to process, because it's like the Forbidden Planet days. It's very much, it feels like we're going back to the golden age of figures, because there's just so many, and it's amazing. We're getting new characters, and I think that's what's really exciting. But my favorite B&M set, see, I've waffled on to try and avoid the question, but I really like the Monster Paladin TARDIS, and I like that version of the Third Doctor. I really do like that. I love the Androzani TARDIS, and I like the Shada TARDIS. I think the TARDIS sets are naturally one of my favourites. I really like the TARDIS sets, because I think there's something quite special about them, and obviously lining the Doctor and their TARDIS is quite satisfying. But I want to say maybe I'm going to say possibly the 8th Doctor and Dalek Interrogator Prime. I love that. I love that Dalek. The first release with the sort of darker blue Dalek and the sort of Doom Coalition Ravenous 8th Doctor. It's superb. But I do really like the revised Sylvester McCoy set with the sort of Axis Strike Squad Dalek. I think that's beautiful. Beautiful thing. A beautiful set. Because I love the Axis Strike Squad Dalek, because it looks like if Series 1 had a Supreme Dalek, I think that would be the design, because I love the sort of black hemispheres and the black dome. It just looks very sort of Supreme Dalek-like, and in an alternative Series 1, that's my headcanon, but it's the Supreme Dalek for Series 1. So what other questions have we got? Daniel said, would it be cool to have a Time War 6-pack And well done for all the videos from the years. Thank you very much, Daniel. A Time War 6-pack would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? Would you have, maybe they could do like the Davros from Time War 4. That would be pretty cool. And obviously at Night of the Doctor, but done in like the Time Lord Victorious color scheme. So with the blue jacket, that would be pretty cool. And I guess a load of Daleks, because you can't have too many Daleks. So the next question we have by Ethan Turley. Hope I pronounced your name right. What First Doctor story do you want animated? First Doctor. To be honest, after Fury from the Deep, I want a Hartnell release. I just miss a bit of Hartnell. I love the First Doctor, so it'd be quite nice to see him get the animated treatment. So I'd quite like to have a Hartnell story. But which one would I like? Obviously, I would like to say Dalek Master Plan, because I think it is the mother of all Hartnell stories. It is amazing. It's incredible. And I think that it's great. But I would like to see Marco Polo, because then we can have season 1. But I think Marco Polo is probably the most likely story to be recovered, because obviously I think it was the restoration team said that they know where missing episodes are because they're in private collections, which is daft, because I really, it doesn't make sense. Give us fans some new Doctor Who. What's old Doctor Who, but it's new, and it'd be great. But yeah, the Massacre I would like to see animated. Actually, the Massacre would be great because it's a fantastic historical story. I think something like that, because but then would you Hartnell, there's so many good Hartnell stories what I'm missing. But yeah, I'm probably just going to say Dalek's Master Plan, because I just love it. But the Crusade would be good, because season 2 is rumored to be part of the Doctor Who collection series. Apparently that's going to be one of the next Blu-rays announced. Apparently a black and white set is imminent. Be so cool. So hopefully the Crusades is being animated. But I'd say I would love to see Dalek's Master Plan. Like, I would say that for the Dalek's Master Plan, I wouldn't want them to cut it down. I would say basically, because normally we get 2 animations a year, basically use the 2 budgets from those 2 animations into the Dalek's Master Plan. The Dalek's Master Plan will sell. It's got the Daleks, it will sell. Mr. Bomb characters asks, Ben, what hair gel do you use? Because it's on point. I don't use any hair gel. It just naturally stays up. So, I don't know. It's just unnatural. Somebody says Sylvester McCoy was better. I'd say Sylvester McCoy was probably the better 80s Doctor. I think Sylvester McCoy is the better 80s Doctor in my opinion, because season 26 is just one of the best classic seasons. What is the most underrated Pertwee story? That's a good question. That's very difficult as well, because Pertwee's that era is just so consistent. So I think Claws of Axos is quite underrated. I feel a lot of people forget about Claws of Axos. Maybe because I've got quite a soft spot, because it was one of the first Pertwee stories I saw. So I really like it quite a bit, actually. So I think Claws of Axos, because you've got a brilliant monster. The Axons are such a creepy idea that they sort of a parasite thing. I think, it's kind of interesting, because obviously Mind of Evil again has a parasite sort of villain in the form of sort of the Keller machines, kind of like a parasite inside it, and then you've got all the Axons, what are essentially a parasite. So it's quite full of parasites in a way. Season 8. But yeah, Colony in Space. I think a lot of people think Colony in Space is the first dud in the Pertwee era, which I disagree. I think that it's kind of I just like it because it's. I think Colin Space is another one that's underrated, but I'd say probably I'd probably say Claws of Axos is quite underrated. Actually, no. Invasion of the Dinosaurs, that is very underrated, because people just think the one with the dodgy dinosaurs. I think I think Invasion of the Dinosaurs, because it's such an interesting story. The fact that it's quite topical, because obviously the way the world is with the environment, and obviously the Pertwee era is very strong with sort of environmental messages. And I think this is one thing what I love about the Pertwee era, is that it's full of little moral messages, and it handles it a lot better than Chibnall. It's not in your face, it's subtle, it's there, you know that there's a message in that story. So I think Invasion of the Dinosaurs about sort of, I think it's the end of the story, you know, take, was it Green Death when Pertwee says, you know, take the planet what you've got and, you know, whatever, something like that. So yeah, I think Invasion of the Dinosaurs, because there's a really good story about that, about sort of the way the world is with climate and sort of trying to revert it back to the golden age. I think Invasion of the Dinosaurs, because I think if the dinosaurs were redone, I think people would really appreciate it. And I think Invasion of the Dinosaurs is such a cool name for a story. Even though part 1 is called Invasion, because they don't want to ruin the dinosaurs. But I think Invasion of the Dinosaurs is definitely the underrated one. So we've got a question by Luke. Hi, Ben. Out of Bessie and the Whovian, what would you rather see made by character? That's an easy one. Bessie. I would love to see Bessie released. I've got this little cart here, which I need to transform into Bessie. As you can see, it looks a bit Bessie. I need to sort of alter the sort of bonnet section to make Bessie. But I feel like that would, and it's in scale the 5-inch figure, so I would like to see Bessie because I think that's such an iconic thing, and obviously we were so close to having Bessie as well in the 5-inch line. You know, back when they were started, Bessie was going to be with the 4th Doctor and TARDIS. I think Bessie would definitely sell. I would love to see Bessie because the Whomobile, as much as it's a great design, I don't feel it's as iconic because it only appeared in 2 stories and Blue Peter and that kids show back in the 70s. So I'd definitely say Bessie. It's got to be Bessie, and then you can have that iconic music playing from the 3 Doctors and What's in the Time Once, right? I love that. I love that music. Bessie's got a great theme. That's the best music in classic Who. Brum, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I've got, like, on my little velvet jacket, my Pertwee jacket, I've got, like, a little Bessie pin badge. A lot of people say it's Brum, and I get very defensive, so I'm like, no, it's Bessie. So Daniel says, well done for 9 years. Thank you very much. What would you say? What do you think the most underrated person? I think Dinosaurs or Mind. I think Mind of Evil is quite well loved, actually. I think Mind of Evil, people don't really like Mind of Evil because of the colorization. Because I feel like the colorization is a little bit ropey. It's not as ropey as Invasion of the Dinosaurs. It's not as but I think that's the thing what lets Mind of Evil down is the sort of recolorization, because I think it's got such a great story. The idea of the sort of Keller machine killing you by your fear, that's really creepy and quite menacing. And I think that story in particular kind of has that sort of season 7 feel. It's kind of got the nitty grittiness of season 7, which is very cool. And then we've got a question by my good friend Adam the Ultimate Whovian. Hey, dude. Hello, Adam. How are you doing? Hope all is well. I'm very well. How are you doing, my good chap? Are you delving into Time Lord Victorious? If so, what aspect of are you most anticipating? Time Lord Victorious. Ooh, that's an interesting kettle of fish, isn't it? Because obviously it's this multi-platform event, which you could say is a bit of a cash grab. And I think that they announced it kind of at the wrong time, because it was announced before we went into lockdown. And the whole idea of doing like an escape room and immersive theatre, it just kind of flops. And I feel like if those events are going to happen, Time Lord Victorious is going to be way in the past. Because I think it kickstarts in September and then it finishes in December, I think. So Time Lord Victorious, I think my problem with Time Lord Victorious is that Jodie's not really a part of it. I feel like it's a story what's 10 years too late, and I feel like it's a bit of a shame that obviously Jodie Whittaker is very much the face of the Doctor Who brand at the moment. Whether you like her or you don't, she is the face of the show. She is the face of the brand. And the fact that she's not really involved in it kind of makes no sense. Obviously, it's like the BBC kind of want them to go, hey, David Tennant's really popular, let's do another story. Like, I love Waters of Mars. I love the whole idea of the Time Lord Victorious, but it does feel a little bit late. But I'm still going to buy some of it. I'm going to buy the books, because I think the books are where the main aspect of the story is. I'm definitely going to get the Big Finish stuff. because obviously I like Big Finish. And obviously we've got the weird vinyl release, which I think is a bit of a cash grab. I mean, no offense to Jacob Dudman, because I think that he does a fantastic job. He's done some great stuff with Big Finish, but I don't really like the idea of him doing the 10th Doctor, because obviously David Tennant's playing the 10th Doctor, so can't they just wait for him to become available and do, record that little audio, because I'm sure it will sell a lot better. I probably will end up getting the vinyl, because that's me. I complain about stuff, but I still buy it, because I have no self-control at all. So I guess I'm quite excited about it. The Big Finish stuff seems quite interesting because it's all new writers, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how they handle it. I'm quite excited for the Doctor Who magazine comic, because it's The Great Vampires. I'm a huge fan of Doctor Who vampire stories. I love goth opera. That's a wonderful book. That's a fantastic book. So yeah, Time Lord Victorious, I'm definitely going to get the I've already got DWM because I'm subscribed to DWM, so I'll get the comic for that. I'll definitely get the Big Finish. The Master Short Trip, actually, that's going to be very cool. Seeing John Coleshaw play sort of Roger Delgado and Anthony Ainley, be interesting to him play those characters. Obviously, he might be playing. I think John Coleshaw will probably end up playing Anthony Ainley in Masterful, the Big Finish 50th anniversary Master release, and it'd be quite cool for him to go, "I am the Master, and you will obey me." That'd be very cool. So I definitely want to see that. Yeah, so the Big Finish stuff I'm definitely going to get, and the books I'm definitely going to get. The comics, the Titan comics, I might wait until it's released as a graphic novel. I think that'll be very cool just to get it, because obviously it probably works out cheaper getting the graphic novel instead of buying the two separate issues. So yeah, Time Lord Victorious, I think that it's an interesting idea, but I feel like it's a bit 10 years too late, really, and I feel like it's quite a nice idea in the sense that it's trying to ignite the fandom again. But yeah, so we've got a question from DW Sebling. When will your next Big Finish collection be out? It was meant to be out today, but you can blame the B&M set, because I filmed it all on Thursday, and Friday I was going to edit it, but I went on the hunt for B&M figures, so I didn't get a chance to edit the Big Finish collection. And then on Saturday, I was filming Big Finish B&M reviews. So I will try and edit it tomorrow, and fingers crossed it will be out for Saturday. I want to get that video. So yeah, Big Finish collection, if everything goes well, it will be out Saturday. It'll probably be a massive video. It'll probably be like an hour long, because the last one was 52 minutes. So yeah, it'll probably be a mammoth video, so it's going to be an absolute nightmare trying to edit it. So yeah. Sorry, I need a bit of a drink because my throat's a bit dry. Because I'm just trying to answer all these questions, which I'm loving, and I'm loving all the love and support for the channel. I really do appreciate it. So thank you so much, because it just means the world to me. So we've got a question by That's quite cool. Happy 9th birthday, Mr. Pertweesmith. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you very much. I wonder what your save episodes, i.e. watch DVD episode, would you save from a burning fire? Let's say have time to save 5, maybe. Oh, what? I mean, it'd be quite ironic if Inferno was in a fire, wouldn't it? Oh, what story? See, I hate these questions. I really hate these questions. Because obviously, would you keep something what's integral to the show's history, or just because you enjoy the stories? 5 stories. What 5 stories would I keep? I would keep the Sea Devils, because it's the Sea Devils. It's amazing. It's a brilliant story. I'd keep a Tom Baker. I'd definitely have Tom Baker in there somewhere. Ooh, I would have maybe. I'd have the Time Meddler, so that's 2. I'd have Time Meddler, Sea Devils. That's 3. I'd have Vincent and the Doctor, because that's an amazing episode. What Tom Baker would I have? City of Death for Tom Baker. I think that, yeah, so I've got Sea Devils, Time Meddler, Vincent the Doctor, City of Death. So one more. I feel like we should have a Troughton. What Troughton? I mean, I could have the War Games. That'd be pretty cool. But I would say for Troughton, the Invasion. I'd say, yeah, those 5 stories I would have: City of Death, Sea Devils, Time Meddler, Vincent and the Doctor, and Invasion. I'd say those 5 I would save. So Jude H says, I love the Mega as well. It was my first Lost story, but even now, 3 years later, it's my favourite Lost story. It's very epic political scale, captures the Pertwee's tone perfectly. Literally, that is my exact thoughts. And much like Fearmonger, that's a great little political story. Another question for Jude. What are your thoughts on the first Sontarans? I do want to check it out, but I'm a bit hesitant because I don't usually like Andrew Smith's writing. I mean, I haven't listened to it for about 6 years, so I can't really comment. I remember enjoying it. It does seem quite controversial with the Sontarans in the sense that it sort of explains their genesis of the Sontarans. But I've been meaning to revisit that story at some point. I've been meaning to revisit that one at some point. So yeah, I'd definitely say. I mean, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. I'd say it's a 7 out of 10 of a story. So we've got another question. So I've answered that. What's the underrated Pertwee story? Daniel says, I'm probably going to make artwork magazine because I'm doing art design on September in college, and I'm probably going to do a Third Doctorate with angels. That'd be very cool. Third Doctor and Weeping Angels. Come on, Big Finish, get on with that. And Rob says he's got the Sea Devil mug, but he broke it. That's a bit of a shame. I mean, this is probably my favourite mug. Apologies to the one my girlfriend got me. This is always going to be my favourite one because it's Third Doctor Sea Devils, because it's my favourite story of all time. So it's definitely my favourite mug. So TARDIS Traveller says, now it seems we're getting 2 wave of figures each year with them checking off companions. Which other companions would you like to see in the future? Personally, I think we need a Jackie. To be honest, I'm quite surprised we haven't got a Jackie because she's quite integral, isn't she, Jackie? Because obviously she's big for Rose's character. We've got Mickey. It'd be great to have Jackie. I would like a proper Donna figure. I would love to see a proper Donna figure because I think the Planet Viewed one's so weird. You know, why we got her in this massive duffel coat? Can't we have like the Journey's End Donna? But I would love to see a Jamie. I'd like to see like a second Doctor TARDIS team, like Jamie and Zoe, and maybe a monster. I'd love to see like an Ice Lord. That'd be pretty cool. Ice Lord, that'd be a cool set. But I think I would like the OG TARDIS team in the form of, let's have Ian Chesterton, Barbara Wright, and Susan. I think that would make for such a cool display with the Unearthly Child TARDIS. That would be insane. So I think I definitely want to see some of the 60s companions. I know you'll probably want to see a Mel figure, but whether we'll see Bonnie, I mean, to be fair, we could see a Bonnie Langford figure. I mean, it's not out of the realms of possibility because I didn't think we'd get Mary Tam. Yeah. But yeah, I'll definitely say, I'll go for Ian, Barbara, and Susan. Rob said, I reckon we could get a Nyssa from Series 2. I probably think they'd use the Claudia Brown Primeval figure for Nyssa. I think they'll probably use that and just paint it up to look like Nyssa. DJ Masonic says, do you think B&M sets will include more Big Finish figures, or do you think the Dalek sets will be all we get? I mean, they did a tweet a couple of days ago, didn't they? What would you rather like? Figures, like for like exclusive bonuses, so figures, lower prices, exclusive stories. I would like to see, I mean, personally, I would like to see maybe like a Lucy Miller figure. That would be brilliant. Or maybe like some Big Finish exclusive sort of Dalek designs. I would like to see sort of maybe sort of like the Dalek on front of the sort of Planet of the Ogrons cover, that sort of Dalek, Sec Dalek with a massive sort of claw. That would be really cool to see be released. But I mean, we could get Evelyn Smythe. I think Evelyn Smythe is a figure we could get. Just use the Grandma Colony body. That figure can finally have a use and make Evelyn Smythe. That would be really cool, and then that would be quite wholesome having the Sith Doctor and Evelyn can come with a chocolate cake. That would be really cool. But I would like to see more Big Finish figures, because then it sort of bulks out other Doctors era. It'd be quite cool to see like a Rocket Man figure for the first Doctor. I mean, I think as well with the Big Finish sets is, I think if they were to do more Big Finish sets, I think they should include the download, because then it will make it more accessible for people who haven't experienced Big Finish, so they can buy the figures and they can listen to the story and know the character. So I think if they were to do more Big Finish stories, I think the download would be cool, because then it gets traffic on the Big Finish website, so people become more aware of Big Finish and see what output they do. So I think if they were to do more Big Finish sets, I definitely want them to include like a download, at least for people to experience that character and to know what they bought, really. So Dodge Travis says, so we're getting an Ace and Dalek. Do you think it's going to be Imperial as it comes with a rocket? I hope so, because I think character options should do like a proper Imperial Dalek. It would be great if they could like rectify the eye, because they painted it blue, because apparently in some light it looks blue. God knows where they got that from. But I would happily like to see an Imperial Dalek, because I don't think they've actually got the Imperial Daleks right. I think if you take elements from both Imperial Daleks, what they've made, you can get a proper Imperial Dalek. Use the plunger from the Remnants of the Dalek set one, and then obviously the one with the McCoy has like the bigger eye stalk, which looks a lot better in my opinion. So Ben Jones says, thoughts on Stranded? I absolutely love Stranded. I think that it's quite refreshing. I think that it is it's quite refreshing. I think it's not a series what you go to for the stories. You go for it because of the characters. And it's quite interesting, especially I think Wild Animals is probably my favorite one of the box set, because Helen, Liv and the Doctor have faced all manner of sort of terrible beings, from the Ravenous, the 11, and obviously they're trying to sort of adjust to sort of modern day life. London in 2020, obviously they're in a very different London to what we're in. They're in a very different 2020, to be honest. And seeing them trying to come to terms with that there is danger everywhere, but it doesn't have to be this super bad alien, but it can just be a normal human being. I think the first story, Lost Property, throws a lot at you. Personally, I think it's one of the weak. I feel like story 1 and story 4 are probably the weaker ones of Stranded, personally, because story 1 throws a lot of sort of plot arc details, and it doesn't do anything more of the plot details in the other story. So you feel like, well, what is the point of giving us all these details about the arc, and you're not going to follow them up, really? I mean, if you think Tom Baker, the curator's only got a feature in all of the stories, you're not going to get it. He's only in the first story, but he does have a really good wholesome moment with a character called Robin, where he's basically this young kid who lives in sort of the Doctor's sort of flat area. And, the curator goes, here's £5, consider it as an investment to get a fancy hot chocolate. It's just really wholesome. And then you've got, and then I think, what's the one, the third story, because it's about sort of a TV, and that's a bit of a bizarre one. It's a really bizarre one, actually. It's really short. It's about 40 minutes. It's like the shortest story in the box set. But then episode 4, you've got the brilliant game show opening with the Doctor on a game show, and it's incredibly tense. You wouldn't think that would be so sort of tense and exciting, but it's just amazing. But then episode 4, I think it needs another 10-15 minutes, because it just ends really abruptly, in my opinion. I feel like it needs a bit more, because it doesn't really end on a cliffhanger. I feel like the problem Stranded also faces is the fact that it's been released and we're not going to get Stranded 2 until March. That is a long time to wait for the second volume, because normally we get 2 Eighth Doctor box sets, one in sort of April time, and then obviously we get one in sort of the autumn time or winter. And obviously Big Finish want to keep hyping this release, that this is a new chapter for the Eighth Doctor. It's incredibly exciting, but they're not really, they're kind of losing the momentum they've built from Stranded 1. So it's really bizarrely placed. So I think Stranded as a box set, I think that it's refreshing. The stories, they're decent enough. It makes for quite a nice change, but you go for Stranded for the characters. I would say Stranded overall, I'd say it's a 7 out of 10. I think that it's a decent box set. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. So yeah, I'd definitely say Stranded 7 out of 10. David says, I'm late, but because I recall having a wonderful assessment of a Mandrill Salt. Wonderful. Yes, I did buy the Mandrill and Siberian figurines. I think they're marvelous, because I really wanted a Mandrill figure, and I saw the Robert Harrop, and I was like, that looks amazing. I need the Mandrill in my life because it's gorgeous. And the classic Silurian, I wanted it because character options haven't done a figure, because I feel like the Robert Harrop stuff, for me, I get stuff what character options hasn't done. But was I tempted with any more Robert Harrop releases? There's been a few. I would have liked to have got the Draconian. What other ones have we done? I would have liked to have got the Clockwork Droid and the mutant from the Mutants, sort of the Solon Mutt. I would have liked to have got that. The Yeti is always one I've wanted to get, but I need to find it for a good price, because I don't really want to pay like 300 quid for it. So yeah, I feel like, yeah, it's a bit, yeah. I definitely say those ones. I think like the Yeti is definitely one I'd like to get. But I feel like Robert Harrop are doing some great stuff. Definitely doing some great stuff. What other ones have we got coming out? We've got like the Sycorax Leader, but I probably will pick up some more at some point. I've just got to wait for the right character for me to go, yeah, I want to buy that. I would love the Massacre back. Yeah, I'd like the Massacre back. Oh, we've got a good question about Alpha Centauri. Lovely Alpha Centauri. She's an icon, but far the best character created. Don't you agree? Alpha Centauri, what a bae. I love Alpha Centauri. Everybody loves a green thing wrapped in a curtain. I'll try and keep it family friendly, but it's basically a green, pee-pee wrapped in a curtain. Not very cool. But we love Alpha Centauri. And, I love Empress of Mars. I think that's a great new series story. And I feel like Alpha Centauri just makes Empress of Mars. It's a chef's kiss. Very good story. Bilal should have been a companion. Yes, imagine that. That would have been a very interesting dynamic, wouldn't it? Very interesting dynamic having Bilal. That way leads to death. Yeah, I feel like Bilal would have been an interesting dynamic, especially for Pertwee's Doctor, and obviously the Brigadier's reaction to Bilal would have been great. Like, good Lord, Doctor, what have you brought here? That would have been great to see Brigadier's reaction to Bilal. That would have been so cool. The scene with all the unit troops stuffed in Bessie and the Ambassador of Death. So, well, to be fair, Ambassador of Death, it's got some great fight sequences. And obviously Bessie has a great moment when the Doctor sort of sabotages and steals that vehicle when the people sort of grab to help the Doctor and Bessie, because Bessie's supposedly broken down, but then he's like, haha, I've tricked you. What do you think of the new B&M sets? I love them. I think they're great. I think that it's wonderful that we're actually getting new characters, and I'm all for it. If we can get if the character options can find a perfect sort of body to use for the figure, what's already existing, and just give it a new head sculpt, I'm all for kit bashing, because obviously I want new figures on the shelf. It'd be very cool. What are your thoughts on Rags? I haven't read it. I know it's a very disturbing Third Doctor book, and I have no plans on reading it. I've got it, but am I going to read it? Probably not, because sounds a bit gross. It sounds a bit like, well, it's by the same person who wrote, is it Combat Magics? Is it Mike Lewis, I think? Where it's basically the Second Doctor and some cannibals. I mean, it doesn't sound as disturbing as The Indestructible Man, with the second Doctor getting like his brain blown off, something like that. The books are weird. It was a weird time to be a Doctor Who fan with the books. In the 60th anniversary, will happen. Do you want to see the Celestial Toymaker with the 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th Doctor and turns into the 14th Doctor? I don't know if they can do the Celestial Toymaker, actually. Be a bit weird, wouldn't it? The Celestial Toymaker. I mean, I don't know if you can do like a whole episode based on the Celestial Toymaker for like an anniversary. I feel like the anniversary special should be a little bit more grander, but yeah, I don't know. Hello, Tom. How are we? So hello, Patrick. So yeah, Celestial Toymaker. I don't know how to feel about that. I'd like to probably. I feel like Celestial Toymaker probably would work in a separate story. Probably work better instead of being an anniversary special. But obviously, Chibnall's got a 5-year plan, so it'll be interesting to see what his 5-year plan is. So Patrick asks, so what is the next big finish you are wanting to get the most? I think Out of Time is going to be incredibly exciting, the 4th Doctor and the 10th Doctor. I mean, I always get excited with 10th Doctor releases because he is very much the Doctor of my childhood. He is the face of my childhood. So I always get a bit excited when the 10th Doctor stuff's announced. And plus the 10th Doctor stuff's quite rare in the sense that they happen we probably get one box set every 2 years. And I think that's one good thing to come out of lockdown, but we're getting 10th Doctor. I think that's going to be quite exciting, and I'd quite like to see what the other 2 Out of Time releases are. I'd be very interested to see what they actually are, because is it just going to be... I presume it's different Doctors and a different villain, so maybe it's with Cybermen, and then maybe with Sontarans or the Master, because they seem to be doing quite a lot with the Master recently. A lot of people have been speculating, is it Christopher Eccleston and Matt Smith? They've got a feature in it, or Capaldi. I think that they have to have a very interesting kind of sort of combo for the other 2 stories, because if it's 5, 6, and 7 and 8, it's gonna be a bit sort of like, oh, we already know how they react. We want something different. We don't know how the 4th Doctor and the 10th Doctor are going to react. So I feel like there has to be a different Doctor to make it exciting and different for us to go, okay, I want to buy that to see how those interact. Because I think the problem now with multi-Doctor stories is that they're just being used too much, and they're sort of using that sort of specialness, because I feel like multi-Doctor specials work when they're used right for like an anniversary or something. I feel like multi-Doctor stories are happening every year and they kind of don't feel that special, which is a shame, because I feel like multi-Doctor stories should be these special things because it's the same character but a different person, so it should be really exciting. But I'm quite excited for whatever release I'm quite excited for. I'm excited for War Master Heart of Darkness, because the War Master is some of the best Big Finish you will experience. It's amazing, one of the greatest Big Finish things you've done. So we've got quite high spamming. Good evening, Pitch Got Black. Have you ever watched Blake 7? If so, what are your thoughts on it? I have not experienced Blake 7 at all. I feel like I should, because it's something I probably enjoy, so I would like to experience at some point. Political Black asks, what's the worst Jagon Lightfoot box set, and would you be interested and also be interesting in knowing what the best? There is no such thing as a bad Jagon Lightfoot box set. They're all amazing. They're all incredible. But I'd probably say my least favorite one is probably Series 7. I think Series 7 is probably the weakest, and I think the best Jagon Lightfoot is probably Series 2. Probably Series 2 with the vampires. I think that's an amazing box set. But I think my 3 favourite Jagon Lightfoot box sets are definitely Series 5, Jagon Lightfoot in the 1960s. Incredible. Really good box set. And then Series 12, again, it's kind of a continuation from Series 2 with the vampires as well. So I really like that, because it's kind of Series 12 is kind of the return to more traditional Jagon Lightfoot sort of stuff. What do you think of the new 2-hour format compared to the old 1-hour format for the Fourth Doctor Adventures? I like it. I think that's one thing what I liked about the Philip Hinchcliffe Presents box set, because it felt more like traditional Tom Baker. I did enjoy Series 9 of the Fourth Doctor Adventures, and it felt more like I was experiencing a lost Tom Baker story, because I feel like the hour-long format's fine, but it doesn't really suit the Fourth Doctor. But there are some gems in the Fourth Doctor line, but I did enjoy that. But yeah, I think the new 2-hour format's a very welcome change, and it's about time, really, that the Fourth Doctor had. So I'm very behind on your questions because I'm rambling, so I do apologise, but I will get around to answering it. So we've got a question from Brian. Hi, Brent. Congratulations on 9 years. Regarding Big Finish, can you see any time they may stop producing CDs and go to download only? And would you be okay with that, or would you prefer a physical release? I think that they probably will go to a download only thing at some point. And I probably will continue getting Big Finish, even though I am very old fashioned, because I like having the CDs, because I think the thing with Big Finish, I can see why people get downloads, because obviously it saves space and they're cheaper. But I like to have something to show for my money. I like to say, okay, I bought this with that money, and there it is on the shelf. But I think it's kind of inevitable that Big Finish will go to download. But that'll be a very sad day when it does, because it'll feel like an end of an era. And it kind of feels like that with the main range ending, because the main range is kind of comfort Doctor Who. It's kind of like the main staple of Big Finish, but it's there, and it's a bit sad that it's going, really. I would kill for a Bonnie Langford plastic form. I definitely do. What Bonnie Langford figure would you like? What male costume would you like to see? Most underrated 8th Doctor companion. I always have a soft spot for Careers. When the script used him like in Other Lives. Yeah, I think Careers, he has a bit of a terrible ending in Absolution. That's a little bit of a terrible ending for him. I think... What underrated companion would I don't know what underrated. I feel like Careers is kind of forgotten about. I feel like because he's part of the Divergent Big Finish, people forget about him. So he's not. I mean, I feel like he only had 2 real good stories, possibly, like Terra Firma and Other Lives. I feel like Other Lives utilizes Careers at his best. Actually, I do like Timeworks. Actually, Timeworks is great, but I feel like Flip's quite underrated. Flip's quite underrated. I feel like, Flip. I'd say Flip, because I like Lisa Greenwood. She's a cool G. Just commenting, catching up on the chat. Combat Rot. Combat Rot is Mike Lewis. I thought it was. What do you think of the end of the main range and box sets changing for 4 hours to 3 hours? I didn't know that it was 3 hours, actually. I'm a bit sad about the main range, because I love the main range, because it's like traditional Doctor Who. It's great, but you can get these 4-part stories. I feel like that's why people go to the main range, because they want traditional Doctor Who, and I feel like the main range is their fix. Big Finish is a bit like a drug, and Pringles, once you pop, you really can't stop with them. So I'm a bit sad that the main range is ending. And I feel like the problem with Big Finish, I know why they're doing it, because they want it to be more accessible for new listeners. But I think that there comes a point where everything's a box set and it doesn't feel very individual. And obviously, if you're a physical CD collector like me, the physical product is becoming less and less, and obviously the prices are going up and up and up. So I feel like I don't know how I feel about the box sets. I've never been a huge fan of everything being put in a box set. I know it's a lot more accessible, but I'm not too keen on the idea of box sets. I like to, I mean, if the box sets are doing something quite interesting, because I feel like the box sets, in a way, are kind of like money grabs. Like the 8th Doctor stuff is definitely a bit of a cash grab, because, about 8 stories out of the 16 are where the main arc is, then the rest are kind of filler. But I feel like if it does something interesting, then, let's do it. I feel like the box sets, I guess the prototype main range stories are like the New Adventures of the 7th Doctor or the upcoming 6th Doctor and Perry box set. I feel like they're very much... the sort of prototype of what the main range will be. Hello, Claire. So I'm just gonna catch up. The re-release of season 14 is out, and I pre-ordered it back in June, but it's not even here for me. I don't know what's happening with that. I haven't heard any more. Obviously, we've had the release of Power of a Dalek Special Edition. That's came out. So yeah, it'd be weird. So what else we got? Other questions we got? Evening, Harry. How are you doing? There are new B&M sets later this year. I know, it's very exciting. It's Christmas come early. If it was a Mel figure, it's got to be Vervoids. With that, yeah, Mel from Terror of Vervoids would be very cool. That'll be very cool to keep that, and obviously Paradise House. Yeah, I feel like we need more 80s monsters. I feel like that's one thing I'd like to see the B&M range do. Start doing more monsters, because everybody loves monsters. It's one of the main reasons why I like Doctor Who, because the monsters are so wonderfully creative. So we got a question from Pitch Skull Black. If there was a Big Finish story with the fairies, who do you think would be the best Doctor for it? I mean, there was a River Song story called, I think it was the Furies, or Furies or something like that, in series 3. I mean, Troughton. I think Troughton would work quite well with sort of that type of thing. I think Troughton would work quite well with those sort of things. Yeah, I think Troughton would work pretty cool with them. What are your thoughts on We're an Isle? I think that it's a good story. It's probably my second favourite of that trilogy. It's got great moments of Flip, obviously flying that sort of paraglider over the ice, and the Wirrn sort of being dormant in the ice. It's a great continuation of Ark in Space. So I think that's really cool. So I like We're an Isle. Is it the best Wirrn story in B? Is it? Can I talk? Probably not. I'm getting a bit tongue-tied. Is it the best Wirrn story Big Finish have done? Probably my second favourite. I think Wirrn Dawn is the best Wirrn story Big Finish have done. I haven't listened to a unit story yet, so that could change, but I doubt it. So you've got a question by the Good Cyber Leader. Will you ever do a stop motion animation with your figures? I have done figure animations before, and they're terrible. But I could do some figure animations. It's always been one thing what I would have loved to do with the channel. I would love to do figure videos, but the problem is they're really time consuming, and I guess you could argue that we have all the time in the world because it's lockdown. So I would definitely like to do some stop motion, because I've got ideas what I'd like to do. I'd love to do a Third Doctor figure animation and do all the voices, Joe, Brigadier, yes, all that. All right, good grief, there's a Stegosaurus. That'd be pretty cool. What other questions? Thoughts on Hex? I think that he's okay. He had a great finale in the form of Gods and Monsters. That's a brilliant story. Hex is good. He's got some good stories. Enemy of the Daleks is great. What is it? World Apart is a good story for Hex and Ace because it explores their dynamic. Night Fortress is a really good Hex story. Hex, I think, is good, and Muse of Fire, really good story. I feel like the thing with Hex is he's got this great story arc, and obviously it ties in with the Project series in some way. That'd be very cool. I definitely do like Hex. I mean, he's a person I wasn't too keen on, but the more I've listened to him, the more I enjoy of him. Harry asks, have you ever read Lungbarrow yet? It's been a while. I enjoyed it, but I think it's a bit overrated and hyped. I haven't read it. I'm too scared to read it, because obviously we all have this sort of visual of this being this grand epic story, and you're hoping that it lives up to the hype. So I'm a bit too scared to read it, because I feel like it's kind of like the sacred text, like it's a Bible of Doctor Who. And, it's like one of those things you shouldn't really read. But I definitely do want to read it at some point. But I'd be interested, because obviously there's such a... I feel like I enjoy Lungbarrow because there's a mystery around it, and I kind of don't want to ruin the mystery, but I know I probably will read it at some point in the future. Would you ever listen to a 10-hour Big Finish audio? I mean, Legacy of Time was pretty close. That was 8 hours. Depends on this. I mean, most Eighth Doctor stuff's about 16 hours. So 10 hours, yeah, why not? Why not? I've got 10 hours to kill. It's lockdown. We've got plenty of time. David will ask, Big Finish, what Doctor Who Rangers do you not buy out of interest? I haven't got Lady Christina because I refuse to buy that. What else ones do I don't get the Blake 7 stuff for obvious reasons. I don't get Dark Shadows. I don't get the Jerry Anderson stuff. I don't get their Dracula stuff. I got their King Lear. I got one of the Shakespeare release. I got King Lear. And that was really cool because David Warner and Lisa Bauman were great in it. With David Warner playing King Lear, which was brilliant. Loved it. But yeah, I think with Big Finish, I kind of cherry pick certain ranges. Like Unit, I cherry pick. If a box set interests me, I'll get it. I said that about Diary of River Song, but I've got all of them bar one actually. Did you get the New Earth box set? No, I didn't. I got it free in Doctor Who magazine. They give the download for the whole box set, and I want to listen to it just to review it, just because I want to basically tear it apart because I feel like New Earth. See, I like New Earth. I like the New Earth stories, but I don't really want a box set dedicated about it. I think it's a bit not. No, thank you. Yeah, no, New Earth. I've got the download. I haven't listened to it. It's something I want to review just to see if it is that bad, because it's got to say something. If Doctor Who magazine are giving the whole box set away, if they're giving the whole box set away, it's got to be pretty bad. That was a great book. It was. Thank you very much. Yes. All right, Joe. Yes. Let's read some more questions, shall we? Yes. All right. Yes. What are your theories of the revolution of the Daleks? I don't really know. Obviously, Captain Jack's probably going to break Jodie out of the prison. The prison does look like Sharda. Yes, Sharda. Yes, I do like Sharda. Very good story. Yes. Yeah, I don't really have. I mean, there are better YouTube channels that speculate. I would like to see possibly a Dalek civil war. Maybe the return of the Paradigm Daleks, because hot take, I like the Paradigm Daleks. They were taking the Daleks in a new direction. It's the one time Moffat shouldn't have listened to the fans and just gone, right, let's do the Paradigm Daleks. So I'd like to see the Paradigm Daleks return and basically go, look, we're gonna fight you. Ooh, we're the better Daleks. So I'd like to see like a Remembrance of the Daleks 2. That would be very cool. What classic Doctor Who story would you like to see a sequel of in Big Finish? Well, Big Finish have done quite a few sequels to stories, haven't they? I'm just trying to think what story they haven't done, because what haven't they done? They've done Inferno. I don't know what story I'd like Big Finish to do a sequel of. They've done Lamara. They finally did Earthshock last year. In terms of what story would I like to see them do? I mean, they've done the Daleks recently with Return to Skaro. So I think, what story would I like to be? I think the Gelf would be quite interesting. I'd love to see like a Gelf Torchwood story, and tie that in with Gwen a bit more. That'd be quite cool, because I feel like you can really do some like adult stuff with the Gelf. Sort of do like fracking, and like inside like when they're like mining for gas, the Gelf's unleashed, and that'd be really cool. So I'd like to see like a Gelf story at some point, because they freak me out. What books are you looking forward to reading? I would love to read. I'd love to read. What is it called? The Hollow Man and The Matrix, because they look like really good sort of traditional Seventh Doctor stories. The Matrix is the Seventh Doctor and the Valeyard. That would be an amazing combo. I'd quite like to read The Dying Days, because I love the Ice Warriors. and the Eighth Doctor because he's great. But I'd quite like to read Scales of Injustice. I have not read, and I feel like I need to read that because obviously it's the story where Liz leaves and Mike joins. So I feel like it wraps up a lot of things. So I'd like to see that, and it's the start of the Pale Man trilogy. So I'd like to read those at some point. I heard of the Gallifrey spin. I've only listened to Gallifrey Time War 1. I've got Gallifrey Series 1 to 6, which I need to review. I'm hoping to start in the next month a Gallifrey sort of series, so sort of overviewing the series. So from Series 1 to 3, I'll sort of do my worst to best of the series, and then Series 4, I do like normal reviews of them. So yeah, I'm excited for Gallifrey actually because I did start listening to the first story. Is it Weapon of Choice? And I enjoyed it, but I feel like it kind of suffers the problem what Big Finish spin-offs have in the sense. Well, the early spin-offs is obviously they're 75 minutes long. They kind of have a bit of padding, and I feel like that's a problem with it. But I'm excited to finish the rest of Gallifrey because I feel like it's going to build up to some grand things. Would you like to hear the Paradigm Daleks in Big Finish? Yes, I feel like the Paradigm Daleks in sort of a Dalek Empire series style thing would be really cool. I would be so down for that. What character would you like to have a Big Finish spin-off? Benny. Benny would be great. No. What character would I like to see as a spin-off? Wilf. Give Wilf a spin-off. Yeah, Wilf and his sort of Doctor crew. That would be great. That would be. Imagine Wilf and like the End of Time sort of old gang looking for the Doctor. That would be amazing. Oh, give me a Bernard Cribbin spin-off, please. That would be lovely. A sequel to Ambassador of Death. That would be cool. Yeah, I feel like there could be a lot you could explain sort of the alien race within it. That would be really epic and very cool. Scales of Injustice is fantastic. I will definitely read that. I've been meaning to read what's the story with the Master and Ian and Barbara? Is it sort of the face of the enemy? I definitely want to read that one at some point. What TV shows do you like outside of Doctor Who, and would you make non-Doctor Who content? Other shows I like outside of Doctor Who. Yeah, I'm trying to think what other TV shows I like. I quite like Rick and Morty. That's fun. That's very cool. I do like Rick and Morty. I guess that's quite Doctor Who-y. I'm trying to think what other things I've been watching, really. I quite like You, the Netflix series about sort of that sort of psychopath. That's pretty cool. That's quite psychological. That's pretty cool. What other things? I mean, in terms of making non-Doctor Who content, probably not, because I feel like this channel's solely dedicated to Doctor Who. So yeah, I think I'll probably just stick to Doctor Who really. And I feel like there's enough Doctor Who stuff to talk about as Big Finish figures and all manner of stuff. Really, what Gallifrey does with Leela's husband Andred makes me, because there's a whole arc about finding Andred, isn't there? Have you heard about the rumored figures coming out later? Yeah, that would be. I'm very excited for them. It's going to be very epic. So yeah, very quite cool. Wolf fighting aliens with his paintball gun sounds great. That just writes itself. Wilf and a paintball gun going around the universe. It could be like Donna Noble kidnapped, but with Wilf. That'd be very cool. I think I'm caught up with all the questions, which is very cool. So yeah, I'm sorry I've been a bit slow answering the questions and a bit slow to respond, but there we go. I think I'm all up to date with your questions. I might wrap this up at 9 o'clock because we've been going for an hour and a bit, and I've had a lot of fun. Have you watched Haunting Hill House on Netflix? It was released in 2018 and it's one of the creepiest shows I've ever seen. No, I haven't actually. I'm not. It's going to sound weird. I'm not much of a horror fan actually. Even though I like scary Doctor Who, I'm not a fan of horror sort of stuff because, I don't know. I've heard good things about it. I don't know if I'd actively watch it. I'm sure it's good. really. But yeah, I'm just gonna have a quick little drink. Well, that's a good question. Is there a Big Finish box set that has one? Is there a Big Finish box set that only has one box set that you'd like to have seen another set out of? That's the thing with Big Finish. Anything can get a spin-off, and anything can get a box set. See, Jenny is kind of similar to sort of River Song in the sense that I feel like they could develop Jenny quite a bit. I'm trying to think what spin-offs they've done actually. What a box set would I say could have done with another one? Seasoned War. I think sometimes. War Master, as much as I love the first box set, it kind of acts as like the ending of the War Master in a sense because they weren't sure if they would get any more War Masters. But I'm glad they're carrying on with the War Master actually. But in terms of other ones, I don't know. I don't know what other box sets I would like to see. What's got one box set? I can't really think off the top of my head actually. But yeah, I'd probably say one of those. I loved Haunting of Hill House. I watched it after a McGann reference, and it had a seizure in it. Very cool. I'm just trying to think of that question about what Big Finish box is. I'm gonna have a look on Big Finish actually, to see if I can find what stories I think should have another box set. I feel like Big Finish should do more sort of Torchwood releases with the original team. I think that'd be pretty cool. Because I would like to get Believe. I would like to buy Believe at some point. So if I just go on Ranges and I'll have a look, see what other ones. What I've got a box set. Collections. This is terribly entertaining. I'm very sorry. What other things? So I feel like the thing with like the recent stuff, they've all had quite a lot of box sets. So just trying to think really, what other things would I like to see them do more of? Unit Dominion possibly explore like a series with Klein at the helm of Unit. That would be really cool to see Klein more involved in the Unit stuff. That would be incredibly cool. And obviously Unit Dominions is quite iconic in the reveal, obviously, with Alex McQueen in it. I think that's all the questions. I'll probably finish live streaming at 9. So if you've got any sort of last questions, and please do put it in the chat, and I will answer them. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun tonight, so thank you everyone for joining me. Do you like Harry Potter? Harry Potter's a bit controversial at the minute, isn't it, with J.K. Rowling? Yeah, I do like Harry Potter. I remember seeing The Prisoner of Azkaban in the cinema. That's like I remember getting the VHS of Chamber of Secrets and watching that. But yeah, I feel like Harry Potter's pretty good. I haven't seen Fantastic Beasts. Because apparently it's not very good. But yeah, I do like Harry Potter. I haven't read the books because I probably need to read some Doctor Who books first. But yeah, I think that's all the questions. I think we're all caught up. I'll just have a quick look on the chat to see if there are any ones I've missed. So if you've got any last questions, and please comment, and then I will answer them. And yeah, I'll probably finish at 9 o'clock. Because I've had a lot of fun doing this, and I hope that you've had fun watching this, and I've been mildly entertaining. And yeah, I'm a bit lost for words because I'm losing my voice a bit. I think that's all the questions. I've got a few. Oh, there's some new comments. I'm gonna go. It's been fun though. If you can do another at some point, see it. Yeah, if you want to see more live streams, if you want to see more of these type of live streams, and please, put in the chat, and I'll do some more because I am thinking of doing a season 12 Tom Baker review. Much like what I did with season 14, to sort of get a panel of people and talk about season 12, because we'd like to do more of those, sort of do more sort of classic season reviews, sort of to coincide with the Blu-ray collections. So season 12 will be coming soon. I've just got to figure out when people are available, and then season 12 will probably be the next live stream, unless people want to see like monthly live streams and sort of chat about Big Finish news or recent Doctor Who news, and sort of do like a Q&A after. I don't know if you're interested in seeing more of these, and put in the chat. It'll be great to have a bit more of an input with that sort of thing. So obviously, if you want to see more type of stuff like this, then comment down below, and I'll happily do more of it. Because I'm having a bit of fun. I'm having a lot of fun because this is quite relaxed and chill. Because this is all it is, really, just to relax and talk about Doctor Who. Is there a character that you would like to see in their own box set at some point? What character would I like to see in their own box set? What character would I like to see? What character would I like to see in their own little box set? Well, the Master's getting his own. Well, the Master's got quite a few of his own box sets. So I would probably. I feel like. Maybe. Could Narvin have his own box set? Narvin from Gallifrey, that would be pretty cool. What other characters would I think should have their own box set? Jackie Tyler should have their own box set. That would be cool. Imagine that. Jackie sort of having her own little adventures, going down to the shops. Be very, very, very interesting. Klein should get a spin-off, but with the new stuff, they could do the character. I'm a big fan of Klein, so I would like to see Klein have her own stuff, because she has some great stories. I feel like one of my favourite Big Finish trilogies is the Klein stories with Thousand Tiny Wings. That is a really good, tense story. That's a really good one. Really do recommend Thousand Tiny Wings. But if you want to enjoy that trilogy, do listen to Colditz for context of that. Then you have Survival of the Fittest, which is a very it's kind of like a Hartnell style story, because it kind of reminds me of the Web Planet, I guess, done right in a way. And then you have the wonderful sort of Klein story with McGann in it, brilliant, which I'm not going to spoil, even though you probably know the big twist because Paul McGann's in it. And then you've got the rather epic conclusion with Architects of History, which is a fantastic story, which is a great sort of trilogy. I feel like that is the good area of trilogy. So you've got the older Jamie trilogy, you've got the Stockbridge trilogy. Those are some really great stuff. Because I am thinking of doing looking at reviewing the older sort of Sixth Doctor and Charlie stuff. Doing a series of videos of those, and once I've done Sixth Doctor and Charlie, do the black and white TARDIS, which probably will take a long time because there's quite a few stories in the black and white TARDIS arc. So yeah, I think that is all the questions, I think. So yeah, I'll probably wrap up in about 3 minutes. So I just want to say, if there are any more questions, please do comment them, and thank you very much for joining me. It's been a lot of fun, and a few people have been saying they want more of these. And yeah, I'll happily do more of these because I've had a lot of fun doing these. So if you've got any more sort of last questions, then please, you know where to put it in the chat, and I will answer them. And then we'll wrap it up, really. So I'll just take a quick little drink to see if there are any more questions, and then we'll say goodbye if there are any more questions, because it's been a lot of fun. And I just want to say thank you for all the love and support over the past 9 years, and long may it continue, because I'm having a lot of fun doing all this, really. Yeah. We've got 2 more questions. So did we need Perry and Ehrman, even though they're great stories? I mean, I haven't really listened to the Perry and Ehrman stuff simply because the problem with the Perry and Ehrman stuff, in the sense with the Perry stuff, is essentially that it lessens the Fifth Doctor's regeneration, in the sense that what makes the Fifth Doctor's regeneration so beautiful and powerful is that he has just met Perry, and if you include all the Big Finish stories with Perry and Ehrman, it kind of lessens his regeneration in the fact that he's not laying down his life to a complete stranger. He's been, traveling, having adventures with Perry. So it's really, I'm not a big fan of the Perry and Ehrman stuff just because out of principle that it lessens the Fifth Doctor's regeneration. But King Maker and, what is it, Son of a Dragon? Really good stories. The Everyday Life of Jackie Tyler. That would be a great title for the box set. Yeah. Yes, that would be a great title for that box set. What should Doctor Who do to gain more popularity? I don't know. I feel maybe make it feel more serialized, make it feel more like a Netflix series. I feel like Series 11, in a way, had that, like, it started off having that sort of Netflix drama in the fact of the way Woman Who Fell to Earth ended with that sort of cliffhanger. It would be great to sort of have each story like the first Doctor era, in the sense that they all sort of follow one into each other. And I guess it makes people seem to stick around more and obviously have that hook of going, oh, this is what the next adventure is going to be like. I feel like that would make people more interested, or I guess you've got to do something quite shocking. I mean, I think Revolution of the Daleks might be a big story because obviously Captain Jack's going to be in it. And obviously, the Daleks, so I feel like obviously, and supposedly it is, Graham and Ryan are leaving, so I feel like there's obviously some danger in there, so you don't know if they're going to naturally leave the Doctor or they're going to die. So I feel like Revolution of the Daleks will definitely get people talking about, Doctor Who, so hopefully that will gauge the popularity of it. After Timeless Children, 3.69 mil. The Series 12 ratings were a bit odd, but, I don't really look at the ratings that much. Yeah, marketing is a big thing. I feel like they do need to market the series more, because they don't really market once the series is started. They don't really put trailers on sort of midweek, do they? I feel like they should start sort of throwing it out there, put it out more on social media. Get people talking about it. And I mean, Series 12 did have some talking points. Definitely did have some talking points for people. Obviously, with Captain Jack returning and the reveal of the Roof Doctor, which I really do like the Roof Doctor. I think that was a great little twist. And I guess the Timeless Children got a lot of people talking because obviously what it does to the show. But I feel like the problem is if you make it to cater it more to the fans, then obviously you're going to lose Joe Public. So I feel like you've got to find a fine balance for it, really. So yeah, marketing it more and I guess make it a bit more serialized. I think that's what might help it. Or I guess you've just got to get new people in, new showrunner, new Doctor. Get like a household name for a Doctor, like a very popular. Well, I'm not saying Jodie's not popular, but like get somebody what everybody knows, everybody who knows about, really. So like if they got Benedict Cumberbatch, that would get people talking, going, oh, he'd make a really good Doctor. I want to see what he's like. So I feel like there needs to be some sort of oomph factor in there in some way. But I do like Jodie, and I feel like she's getting there. She's getting there. I feel like she's had some great moments in Series 12, especially Haunting of Villa Diodati. I just want to see Jodie challenge a bit more because I feel like Jodie at the moment just feels more like she's just going off the page. I don't feel like she's adding anything extra to it. So I want to, see Jodie sort of be a bit more sort of say, right, I'm going to do this with my Doctor now instead of just go what's off the page. So yeah, I feel like obviously take Jodie in a different direction might help. I think that is all the questions, I think. So I'll give you a couple more minutes. We want Doctor Who to reign the longest sci-fi. Yes, we do. I will drink to that. Yeah, because Doctor Who, it is brilliant, and it is one of the greatest franchises out there. Do you believe we get a multi-Doctor story for the 60th? I feel like it's a given. Whether it's part of Chibnall's 5-year plan, because I feel like Matt Smith will probably return. Peter Capaldi, probably not. I don't think Peter Capaldi will probably return, because he said a couple of years ago actually that he feels like his Doctor won't really get involved in multi-Doctor stories, even though he was in Day of the Doctor, which was very exciting. But yeah, I feel like multi-Doctor stories, I feel like for the anniversary there has to be a multi-Doctor story. And it'd be interesting to see what Chibnall does with a multi-Doctor story, really. But yeah, I think that answers that question. So thank you very much for all your lovely questions. I have had a lot of fun doing this, and I hope that you've had fun watching it, and I've been somewhat entertaining and enjoyed me just rambling on about God knows what for the past hour and a bit. So I just want to say a massive thank you for the love and support over the past 9 years. And again, thank you for the questions, and thank you for taking the time out of the day to sit and watch this. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Probably be a B&M review, and then I'll probably kickstart the Big Finish collection in the weekend. So thank you very much for watching, and take care and stay safe, and goodbye. Bye.